Let's strip away all the noise and get to the part that actually works. Not the dating guru fluff, not the pickup artist nonsense, but actual science. Real research on what activates attraction in women on both a biological and psychological level. And here's the interesting part. The traits that create real lasting attraction aren't the ones most men imagine. They're not about being the loudest guy in the room or the one with the biggest muscles or the thickest wallet. They run much deeper than that, more fundamental. These are masculine traits wired into female attraction over thousands of years of evolution. And the best part? Every single one is completely within your control to build. You don't need to be born with them. You don't need special genetics. You just need to know what they are and decide to embody them. So let's break down what the science actually says works. 1. Confidence without arrogance, the foundation of everything. We'll start with the big one, confidence. But not the version most men imagine. Not the loud attention-seeking, look-at-me peacocking that actually pushes women away. I'm talking about quiet, genuine confidence that comes from knowing who you are and being comfortable with that. The science is consistent. Study after study shows confidence is the #1 trait women find attractive across cultures and ages. But here's where most guys mess up. They think confidence means dominating the room, being the center of every conversation, pretending they're never unsure. That isn't confidence. That's insecurity dressed up as bravado. Real confidence is subtle. It's comfort with silence. It's being okay not having all the answers. It's the ability to laugh at yourself. It's admitting you're wrong without your ego collapsing. It's not needing outside validation to feel good about who you are. Women can sense confidence within seconds, not from your words, but from your body language, your posture, your eye contact, your pace, how you carry yourself. These things communicate confidence long before you speak. Here's how it looks in real life. You walk into a room not scanning for approval. You're simply present, comfortable in your skin. Your eye contact is natural, not aggressive but not avoided. Your speech has pace. You don't rush to fill silence. You take up space appropriately without trying to dominate it. Neurological research shows that when women encounter genuinely confident men, their brains release dopamine and oxytocin, and chemicals tied to reward and bonding. Confidence signals genetic fitness, emotional stability, and capability. These are deeply ingrained evolutionary cues. But here's the key distinction. Confidence without kindness becomes arrogance, and arrogance is unattractive. Women are excellent at spotting the difference between a man who's secure and one who's compensating. Think of the most confident men you know. They aren't proving anything. They can be wrong. They can laugh at themselves. They're not controlled by their ego. That quiet self-assurance is magnetic, because it's rare. The good news, confidence is trainable. You build it by facing challenges, developing competence, doing things that scare you, failing and learning, and choosing authenticity over approval. Confidence isn't perfection. It's comfort with imperfection. And that comfort is what women find irresistible. 2. Emotional stability, the trait that separates men from boys. Here's something most men don't want to hear but absolutely need to understand. Emotional stability is one of the strongest attraction triggers for women. Not emotional suppression, not fake stoicism, but actual emotional regulation and maturity. Research is clear. Women rank emotional stability at the top for long-term attraction. Why? Because it signals safety, reliability, and the ability to handle life without falling apart. Emotional stability means you feel emotions, you acknowledge them, but you don't let them dictate your behavior. You don't blow up over frustration. You don't spiral when something goes wrong. You don't obsess anxiously when you're unsure. You feel these things, but you stay centered. Women are wired to look for partners who stay steady under pressure. From a survival standpoint, it makes perfect sense. If you're choosing someone to build a life with, you want someone who won't crumble the moment things get hard. This shows up in conflict. Can you disagree without attacking? Can you stay present when she's upset instead of shutting down? Can you talk through something difficult without turning it into a fight? That level of emotional maturity makes women feel safe. It also shows up in rejection and disappointment. If she says no when you ask her out, do you get angry, acre, or do you handle it with maturity? When something goes wrong, do you get bitter, or do you adjust and continue forward? Women read these reactions as indicators of how a relationship with you would feel. Neuroscience shows that unstable men spike women's stress hormones. Their nervous systems go into alert mode, but emotionally stable men have the opposite effect. Their presence calms the nervous system, making women feel safe and open. Being emotionally stable doesn't mean shutting down. The most attractive version is feeling deeply while staying grounded, vulnerable without being needy, passionate without being unpredictable, authentic without losing control. Developing emotional stability requires inner work, therapy, meditation, journaling, self-reflection. It's learning to pause before reacting. It's understanding your triggers. Women aren't drawn to men who don't feel. They're drawn to men who feel but stay centered. 3. Purpose and direction. The magnetism of a man on a mission. Here's a trait that surprises a lot of men, but the science couldn't be clearer. Women are strongly attracted to men who have purpose. Not obsessive workaholism, but genuine engagement with something that matters. Multiple studies show that men become more attractive when they're pursuing meaningful goals. A man building something, working towards something, or becoming something signals discipline, competence, passion, and long-term commitment potential. Effort. Evolutionarily, a man with purpose brings resources, not just money, but psychological stability and emotional capacity. He's building a life someone can join. But beyond evolution, purpose makes you more interesting. You have stories, you have passion, you have direction. You're not static, you're becoming. That forward motion is attractive because it represents growth. Women can feel when a man is drifting versus when he's moving with intention. A man without purpose seems dependent, looking for a woman to give his life meaning, or apathetic, just coasting. Neither is attractive. But purpose doesn't mean being a CEO or world changer. It could be mastering a craft, raising a family well, building a business, creating art, or serving your community. What matters isn't the label, it's the engagement. Brain imaging studies show that when women see men demonstrating skill or competence, their reward centers activate. Competence is attractive because it signals potential. Purpose shows up in your energy. When you talk about what you're building, do you light up? Do you become more alive? That energy creates attraction. Without purpose, your energy dulls. You feel empty, unengaged, uninteresting, and women feel that. Developing purpose is about identifying what actually matters to you and committing to it. Women aren't drawn to perfection. They're drawn to men with passion and direction. 4. Social intelligence and leadership, the power of understanding people. Now let's talk about a trait men underestimate: social intelligence. Your ability to read people, navigate social situations, lead when needed, and make others feel valued creates massive attraction. Research shows women find socially intelligent men significantly more attractive. Women look for social proof and pre-selection. Essentially, men other people respect and enjoy being around. Not popularity for ego, but genuine likability. Social intelligence signals emotional maturity, leadership potential, and status, all historically crucial for survival and partnership. It's in small behaviors: how you treat service workers, how you include others in a conversation, how you handle conflict in groups, how you read the room. Women watch how you treat everyone, not just her. Leadership is part of this, real leadership. Not domineering control, but initiative, responsibility, and unifying people. In a social setting, the socially intelligent man isn't the loudest. He's the one creating connection, introducing people, smoothing the energy of the room. That makes him attractive because it shows capability and awareness. Neuroscience shows that witnessing social leadership activates trust and attraction regions in women's brains. Social intelligence is built not by trying to impress, but by genuinely caring about people, listening, observing, and being present. And women notice when you have healthy male friendships. It signals loyalty and value. This trait isn't about being fake. It's about actually caring and being skilled with people. 5. Physical presence and vitality, the biology of attraction. Let's get real. Yes, attraction has a physical component, but it's not about perfect genetics. It's about vitality, health, energy, and how alive you are in your body. Research shows women respond to health markers more than specific looks. Vitality signals good genes, energy, resilience, and capability. And the best news? Vitality is trainable. Vitality looks like movement, energy, good posture, clean skin, rested eyes, purposeful motion. Women can pick up health signals almost instantly. This isn't about chasing aesthetics, but building functional health. Are you eating for energy? Moving regularly? Sleeping enough? Managing stress? These habits show up in how you look and carry yourself. 2. Physical confidence is part of this. Being comfortable in your body. Walking with presence, not insecurity. Posture matters. Open, strong posture signals confidence and vitality. Collapsed posture signals insecurity and stress. Appearance matters too. Not fashionable hype, but dressing well for your body, grooming properly, showing self-respect. Your voice plays a role, clarity, resonance, steadiness. Not forced depth, but a grounded, confident tone. Women are attracted to masculine physical traits, but not extreme ones. The most attractive version is healthy, vital masculinity. You don't need a model face or a perfect body. You need vitality, strength, health, and presence. These are all within your control. Within your control to develop. Vitality isn't about genetics. It's about habits, discipline, and self-respect. And women can sense the difference between a man who's genuinely healthy and one who's performing health for external approval. Which brings us to the final trait. 6. Integrity and consistency, the backbone of masculine character. Here's a trait that doesn't get talked about enough, but every study on long-term attraction points to it. Integrity. Not moral perfection, not pretending to be some flawless saint, but consistency between your words and your actions. A core reliability that makes people feel they can trust you. Women are highly attuned to whether a man says one thing and does another. Evolutionarily, it mattered. A reliable man increased survival for both the woman and potential children. Modern research backs this up. Women find men more attractive when they demonstrate follow-through, honesty, and predictability across time. But a woman who denies, minimizes, or avoids the truth of her past will repeat the same cycles with you, no matter how good of a man you are, because unresolved patterns don't magically fix themselves through love or attraction. They follow her into every relationship she enters. And here's the uncomfortable reality most men never check for. A woman's past doesn't just shape how she loves. It shapes how she trusts, how she attaches, and how she handles uncertainty. If her past is full of constant breakups, drama, rebounds, or situationships, then instability becomes her normal. Even if she wants something healthy, her instincts will try to pull her back into the familiar. Because people don't rise to their intentions, they fall to their conditioning. A woman who's been in stable, committed relationships usually treats love with more care. She knows how to communicate. She knows how to maintain emotional balance. And she knows how to stay present when things get tough. But a woman whose past is defined by chaos often brings that chaos with her. Not because she's malicious, but because those patterns feel natural to her. Emotional familiarity is powerful. It pulls you back even when you know it's wrong. That's why body count isn't about numbers. It's about patterns. It's about conditioning. It's about the emotional habits she practiced over and over again. And if you ignore that, you're not being compassionate. You're being naive. And this is why emotionally disciplined men don't get caught up in political debates or cultural narratives about body count. They're not arguing morality. They're looking at predictability. They're looking at relationship outcomes. They're looking at the psychological traces a past leaves behind. Because every experience leaves an imprint. Every breakup rewires something. Every casual encounter teaches a habit. Every emotional high or low shapes how someone bonds in the future. And here's the truth men with awareness eventually accept. A woman's past doesn't tell you if she's a good or a bad. It tells you how much recalibrating she's had to do emotionally free. A woman who's been through fewer emotional resets tends to bond deeper. A woman who's gone through many resets often bonds faster but less securely. And a woman who's repeated short-term connections becomes comfortable with replacing instead of repairing. That's not judgment. That's pattern recognition. So the real question becomes, is her emotional history aligned with the kind of future you want to build? Because if her past and your vision don't match, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, no matter how attractive she is or how good the chemistry feels in the moment. And the worst thing a man can do is ignore the evidence simply because he hopes she's different. Up is not a strategy. Awareness is